Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Do You Mean You've Never Seen? We have a really cool, exciting episode for you guys today, and we're excited to talk to you about Sleepless in Seattle. There is so much to talk about with this movie. We're going to be talking about the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Houseboats. Sweatpants.
What makes a houseboat a houseboat?
Yes, we're going to do a deep dive on houseboats. Sweatpants. Children with giant gaps in their teeth. Like, we have so many things to discuss. And I am so happy to be joined here today with by my two co-hosts, Jennifer and Max. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Great night. Great movie.
Amazing.
We'll get into it. Keep going, John.
All right. So just a cute few quick facts.
So cute.
So cute.
Everything about this movie is
totally
cute.
meant to say
Adorable.
that.
Just keep going.
Quick facts about this movie. It was released in 1993, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Meg in her absolute prime with the greatest hair you've ever seen.
She looks
Tom
great.
Hanks, a little less so.
Yeah.
It was directed by and written by Nora Ephron.
R.I.P.
And R.I.P. And it was made for a budget of $21 million with a box office take of $227.8 million. So this was a big hit.
Yeah.
It was probably, I would guess, probably one of the most successful comedies of 1993. And it deserves it because this is a really, really great movie. I myself did not get to go see it. I was too young at the time, but my parents went and saw it and told me the whole story, and then I got to watch it on HBO later.
Yeah.
But I've seen it probably like 20 times.
I had never seen it going in.
Yeah, and at the time it came out, I don't know how popular it continues to be. I mean, I'm sure it hasn't it's not like people hate it, but at the time it was like a big part of the conversation. There was a lot of because it was a different kind of romantic comedy. The two leads don't meet each other until the very, very end of the movie, and it was different and it was very irreverent. And Tom Hanks is really, really funny and really, really good in it.
I'm sure at the time it was probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest romantic comedies of all time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still definitely when you say, hey, romantic comedy, tell me a movie, it's one of those that people would mention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Meg Ryan had recently, a couple years before, had been in When Harry Met Sally, and I think this was an even bigger cultural experience for people. Mm-hmm. So what's it all about? Let's speak to our new viewer for this film. That would be Jennifer. Max, you have seen this whole movie in its entirety before, correct?
I have seen it in its entirety. I was very young, so I didn't remember most of it. I remembered the basic scenario they were in, but I was young and I wasn't very into it, so I didn't remember most of it.
All right, so what we want to hear about from Jennifer is what did you know about this prior to watching it, and any reason why you waited this long to watch it?
So I did know the basic premise. I knew it had something to do with a kid calling a radio show and Meg Ryan hearing it and Tom Hanks and Empire State Building. That's about the gist of what I knew about it. I guess I didn't watch it because I just watched You've Got Mail and I felt like I had already seen Sleepless in Seattle because I watched You've Got Mail, and I just decided to keep watching that one instead. So I had never gotten around to this one.
And there were definitely some surprises, right?
Honestly, yes. Honestly, the fact that they didn't meet till the end of the movie, which you already brought up, was my biggest surprise. I was like, wait, what is this movie? They don't even know each other. Are they even going to meet? Like, the movie's almost over. Like, we haven't even seen them say one word to each other. So that was a big surprise for me. I did know that the end of the movie climaxed with them meeting at the Empire State Building, but I didn't realize that was their only meeting. Mm-hmm. I thought it was maybe like a situation where they had been together and broken up, and that was like the final culmination of it. But that was pretty much the only time they met in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a movie.
I didn't know Bill Pullman was in it, so that was a pleasant surprise. Always good to see him.
Bill
Love
Pullman,
me, Bill Pullman.
Who eventually, gets to be the winner in While You Were Sleeping, another movie that involves the word sleeping in it.
And romantic comedies. And New York.
With Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
And I like Bill Pullman in A League of Their Own, which Tom Hanks is also in. There's a lot of, if you were playing the Who's in Other Movies with Other People game, this is a good one to do.
And Rosie O'Donnell, too.
Rosie O'Donnell's
All three
in
of
it.
them
That's
were in
true.
both movies.
And, we were watching it with our friend Corey and my daughter Audrey, who we're all big fans of the movie Now and Then. And there's a lot of crossover in that cast as well. Rita Wilson, Rosie O'Donnell, Gabby Hoffman. It's just a who's who of other movies involving the same actors.
Yeah. And none of those movies are like made by the same directors. So it's not like, these are the same people that are in all of Nora Ephron's movies.
Right.
Although I do believe she is the director of You've Got Mail.
I believe that is a Nora Ephron joint.
So this movie was just as good as I remember it. It's always good. Rosie O'Donnell is fantastic.
She's a joy.
And Meg Ryan is just delightful to watch.
She's so pretty in this movie.
She
so
has
much prettier than You Got Mail even.
Never looked better.
Yeah, she looks great. She looks better than Harry Met Sally. This is the best she's ever looked.
Her hair is like fantastic.
Her eyes are just beautiful. They light her really pretty.
Yeah,
she looks great.
She
even
looks
in
angelic.
that weird old-timey wedding dress, which I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Proposal when Sandra Bullock tries on that horrible old-timey wedding dress. I was expecting one of those kind of moments. But she looked beautiful, even in an 1800s wedding dress. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you guys feel about the experience of watching the movie? It's an easy watch. I feel like it moves along pretty quickly. The plot is pretty straightforward and it's easy to follow. And you're sort of like I'm never bored when I'm watching this ever.
No.
Like there's always something either good happening on screen at that exact moment or something really good is coming up.
We had some good laugh out loud moments for sure.
Yeah.
There was never a dull moment.
Yeah, it moves on. It's pretty much everything you want from a rom-com, like cute, funny, charming, attractive people.
Yes.
What more could you ask for? Except I could ask for less, because I could ask for less bratty children.
Oh, yeah. That is true. And Gabby Hoffman is like not fun to watch in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, what was that
her
scene?
performance is fine. She's a good actress, obviously. But her character is just so obnoxious.
The worst. And he comes home. Apparently, he had left Jonah at home alone for who knows how long. This child's only 8. He's too young to be without a babysitter. He comes looking for him, and then he's in the room with Gabby Hoffman listening to the Beatles backwards. That's just, we all know, classic thing for 8-year-old children in 1993 to be doing.
Oh, that's what I was doing.
All of them. That was the biggest rage. 100%. Game Boy and that.
And Jennifer, you were 8 years old in 1993, weren't you?
I'm about the same age as the kids in this movie, and I am a huge Beatles fan, and I probably was that dork listening to the Beatles, but I wouldn't say that was a common thing, so I found it relatable, but also stupid.
We all listened to the Beatles backwards on loose record players and egg chairs that we had in our rooms. We all did that.
With
And
a
speak
girl by ourselves and told our dad to close the door.
And we made up our own acronyms as we went along.
Yeah,
Could have gone without that.
Speaking in acronyms is like a big part of her character.
Yeah.
It's basically the only character trait she has other than the fact that her parents are travel agents.
Which I actually kind of found to be very before her time. She was like on the cusp of, Twitter.
Yeah.
Imagine that character would be all over Twitter right now. And she would be like
100%.
LMFAO and people would be agreeing with her.
Yeah. She would be the best.
She was like talking in
very ahead of her
acronyms
time.
before texting.
She might as well have just been saying #bye.
Hashtag bye.
Yep.
Another thing about this movie that some of you who've seen it before may recall is that it intersperses a lot of scenes from the older film
An Affair to Remember.
I almost said An American in Paris. An Affair to Remember, which was famously starred Cary Grant and Deborah Carr, or Deborah Kerr, depending on who you are. Even in this movie, they can't decide how to pronounce her name correctly.
How do you spell her name, John?
Kerr.
But she pronounces it Carr?
Some people say Carr, some people say Kerr.
Interesting. Okay.
If anyone actually knows or knew Deborah Carr, I don't know if she's still alive, but if anyone knew her and knows how she pronounced her name or have video of it, you can feel free to tweet us or send us an email and we can clear this up.
If you are Deborah Carr's grandchild, we want to hear from you. Please let us know.
Absolutely. And when we do an affair to remember, which eventually I'm sure we will do on this podcast. We would love to have you as a guest.
100%.
So all of Deborah Carr's family, come on down. Or Deborah Kerr's family.
Both of them.
If there's like warring factions where like one side says it's Carr and the other says it's Kerr, come on down. We'll have a real old-fashioned debate. Because now we're going to do that right now, actually, because we're going to talk about houseboats.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, finally.
Max and I would be team houseboat.
Team
Jonathan is team not
houseboat.
I am
houseboat.
team not houseboat. There's no way that house is a houseboat.
I already Googled it, and it was. The docks around it were on stilts, but that was a platform on which that house
It was
was floating.
floating.
It was floating on the
Jonathan,
water.
tell me what you think a houseboat is if this was
houseboat?
not a houseboat.
Okay, a houseboat is a boat that has living quarters on it, and it kind of looks like a house, but it's basically just a big boat that's shaped like it kind of looks like a tree house.
Disagree. A houseboat is a house.
Which we're going to have to watch. Now we're going to have to watch the movie Houseboat with Sophia Loren, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I
seen
say
that
what a
movie,
houseboat
so
looks
it would
like.
be good for this
There
podcast.
are houseboats
the-
that look like boats, and there are also houseboats that look like houses, and they are just floating on the water, so you don't have to pay property taxes on them because they're technically boats.
But do you have to pay boat taxes on them?
I don't know boat tax law,
Okay.
Jonathan.
Well, perhaps
Are you a boat
perhaps
tax
the
expert?
exterior of that house was a houseboat, but if you look at the interiors, there's no way that's a houseboat. That's obviously
It was probably shot in multiple locations,
Yeah.
but the exterior was a houseboat.
I'm going to say the
It was
interior of that
floating.
house did not match what we were looking at when we looked
Yeah,
at it from
and
the
I have
outside
already
at all.
Googled to confirm it was a houseboat.
well.
Cheers, Team Houseboat. If you're Team Houseboat,
Yeah,
tweet at us.
Tweet at us. Don't add us, but tweet at us.
Feel free to share your thoughts on what houseboats look like or what constitutes a houseboat. And feel free to continue. We need to keep this conversation going because this is what's really important in America right now was the house in Sleepless in Seattle a houseboat?
These are the issues that matter.
Please come
Right.
to our website at
This movie came out
houseboattruth.com.
This movie came out 29 years ago, and the battle for whether or not it was a houseboat is still raging. In
It's
fact,
not.
I think we should talk to Tom Hanks about it.
Houseboat
Yeah,
truthers.
bring him on.
But Meg Ryan was there too. She
I
does
have
go to the
heard-
house in the movie. She just doesn't meet up with them at the house.
I have heard if you want to talk to Tom Hanks, you have to write him on a typewriter and tell him what typewriter you're using to type to him, because that's how he will respond to you.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
hot tip for all you people looking to get in touch with Tom Hanks.
But what's his address though?
Typewriter.com.
Yeah, his home address.
He wants you to type
is
it
typewriter.com.
and then scan it.
Yeah.
And then email it to him
Yeah.
on his website.
As long as it was
Yeah.
originally written on a typewriter, that's all that
His
matters.
website, houseboattruth.com.
Exactly. That's my Max's website. Typewriters at houseboat.
Justice for that house that was not a boat.
What segment are we on? I don't even know. What are we? I don't know what we were even on.
We're sort of in the middle of the what's it all about and what was it
Okay.
like to watch segments.
Okay.
So yeah,
Team
we're
houseboat.
about to, now that we've discussed the important issues like the
Sure.
houseboat.
Yes.
Now we can get to a just slightly less important issue,
Okay.
which is the eyebrows.
Okay.
Jennifer,
yes.
talk to us about eyebrows.
So my favorite eyebrows in this movie were Meg Ryan's mom's eyebrows.
Yes.
They were drawn on. Go check it out.
Stood out to me, and I don't notice eyebrows, but
The best eyebrows in this movie.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
And she's only in one scene, and she's never mentioned again. I didn't even learn her name. Maybe she says her name, but I missed it. All I know is Meg Ryan's mom wins the eyebrows
Yes.
for this movie.
For
And
her.
she also has a very lovely Moira Rose-esque mid-Atlantic British accent.
100%. What was
This was
that
a
accent?
waiter. It sounded like she was Irish, but was trying to sound American.
Yeah. Who is the actress? What? I
let's-
don't know
let me
her.
look her
I mean,
up.
she
Yeah.
looked vaguely familiar.
Yeah. But yeah, Myra Rose vibes with an always surprised eyebrow. Always surprised.
Very drawn on
all right.
eyebrows.
Yeah.
I want you all to prepare yourselves for this.
Okay.
Okay.
This actress's name, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce it correctly. It's Léciange Durand.
Wow, that's a name.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
It's a name. That is her name.
What else
As
would we know
Barbara
her
Reed.
for? Okay, Barbara. Okay.
She does not have a Wikipedia page, so we would have to get on IMDb.
She's like
look
just
up
a
if she has any
person
other
they
credits.
found.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Maybe she was like a local theater actress that
they found
Nora
her
Ephron knew, and she
on
was
the
like,
street.
"You don't look anything like Meg Ryan, but we're going to hire you to play Meg Ryan's mom."
Maybe she, maybe her French, maybe she was trying to hide her French accent, and that's kind of what we ended up with.
Maybe she's like Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek, where she's French, but she just has a British accent.
Maybe she came with the houseboat.
She wasn't
on the houseboat.
She was a stowaway.
She was not a stowaway.
She was
on
a
the
stowaway
houseboat.
on the houseboat.
Yeah, that's pretty much what she's known for. Okay, so breaking news. She is from South Africa.
Okay, I can see that.
Okay, so that's where
That explains
makes
the
sense.
vaguely British accent.
Thank you to our research department for that.
Oh.
She knows who she is.
Another Meg Ryan's brother was Niles Crane from Frasier.
My favorite. I love it.
Yes.
I love, my favorite part was how he was talking disparagingly about Seattle. And I'm like, Niles, you are all about Seattle.
Little
What
did
are
he
you
know
talking about?
that just a few months later, he would be sent to Seattle for 11 years.
Literally, the thing he is most famous for is living in Seattle. And the only scene he's in, the only really thing he talks about is how he doesn't like Seattle.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that he married his wife because she said, we either have to break up or get married.
I mean, well, he's super gay, so why else would he marry his wife? But,
and was he like I always assumed he was a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but paying attention this time, he had a lot of musical instruments in his office. Is he like a conductor? Because he also had a baton.
A music teacher? Interesting. I didn't think to pay attention to that, but I just assumed he was Niles Crane, so that's what I was going
that's
for.
what I knew him from. So I just always assumed that he was a psychiatrist. This was the first time it's ever occurred to me that he was doing anything else. Because he's like holding a baton in his hand and tapping it in his other hand the whole time.
Interesting.
It was very interesting. Like there's a whole other world in this movie that
Tell
we
me
don't even know
the
about.
actor's name one more time. I should know.
David
this.
Hyde
David
Pierce.
Hyde Pierce. Well, he is very psychiatrical. He's perfect for Niles Crane. I always know him as Niles Crane, and to me, in this movie, he was just Niles Crane.
And did he have good eyebrows though?
Always.
Oh,
He
yeah.
looks great.
They were on fleek.
On fleek. On
Okay.
fleek. Yeah, that's all I care about.
All right. So the next thing we want to ask is, does this movie live up to the hype? As the person who hasn't seen it yet, Jennifer, what do you think?
I'm honestly gonna say no.
No?
I prefer other romantic comedies to this one. As somebody who does enjoy a romantic comedy, I just found the story interesting, but just so far-fetched that it just kind of took me out of it. And like, I didn't like the way Meg Ryan treated Bill Pullman. I thought that was kind of crappy. And I mean, like I said, she looks great. Everybody in this movie looks great. Everybody's acting is great. I love Rosie, but it really wasn't my favorite.
What do you think, Max?
I don't know. I mean, I would recommend watching it. I had a great time watching it.
For sure.
It's great to watch in a group. Maybe not like it's not a great rom-com to watch alone, and that kind of makes it a bad rom-com. Yeah, I want it to be. I don't know. If I watch a rom-com, I want it to be somehow more ridiculous than this, and it's already an absurd premise. But I want to see crazy people doing stupid stuff. And it just all working out. Like, I want to see some crazy people, like, doing some weird physical comedy, knocking stuff off of a table or whatever, and that's what I want out of my rom-coms.
I'm not a fan of rom-coms where the person is already in a relationship and is just
that was
crappy to the person. And this, Bill Pullman didn't do anything wrong. He was pleasant. Yeah, he was a little weird with his allergies, but as someone who suffers from that, I felt him. I was here for him. But I'm not a fan of these romantic comedies where someone has to break up with someone in order to be with someone that they don't even know.
Yeah, and they
So that
both
kind of bothered
did.
me.
They both were in relationships.
Yeah, I mean, less so Tom
yeah.
Hanks because he had kind of just met that woman.
But yeah, she was engaged.
Right.
She was engaged, and then
met her family.
And then she hired a private investigator.
Oh, that was creepy.
To check out.
Yeah, Meg Ryan
another
was
guy.
a little creepy in this.
Just
And then when
because,
she was
like,
watching
oh.
them on the beach, that was also very creepy.
I'm a happily
love it.
engaged woman. I'm going to, but I heard like a cute guy on the radio the other day. I think I'll hire a private investigator
Right.
to track him down and like see what's up with him.
It's
just to
very
see what's
creepy.
up.
And if you flipped the genders especially, I feel like people would be a lot more creeped out
It would
by
be like
it.
a horror movie.
Right.
And then she shows up and is standing in the middle of the street and says nothing and is just staring at them.
Almost getting hit by a car.
And to me, I think the most far-fetched part of this story is that when she does come to Seattle to, her intention is to talk to him, but she keeps getting thwarted because, in reality, she's just too scared to do it.
Right.
But when they see each other in the street and she doesn't know that he saw her in the airport and was like struck by her.
Right.
I think that sort of like, it eases things for me a little bit because he sees her actually before she's ever seen him in person.
Yeah.
And he's like so taken aback by her that he wants to follow her through the airport, but then she gets lost.
I think that's how they try to make it okay.
Yeah. But the most far-fetched part is the fact that she gets all the way half across the street. He walks away from the people that he was, because, she assumes that the sister or sister-in-law, whoever Rita Wilson, who is his actual wife, whoever she is in the movie, she's either a friend or a sister or sister-in-law. They don't ever make that clear. But she has the same haircut as the lady that he's going out with.
I thought that was the lady he was going out with.
No, it was Rita Wilson's character.
Okay.
So she sees the back of this person's head and she has pictures of a woman with a similar haircut that he was on a date with earlier in the movie that she got from the private detective. She gets to the middle of the street. He sees her. He walks away from the people he was with and comes up to her and says hello. And the scene just cuts because and there's no way that like he didn't try to talk to her more or anything like that because he recognized her from the airport.
Right.
Which is why he wanted to talk to her.
Doesn't say like, hey, what are you doing? Who's that woman? Do you know her? Like,
or that.
No, that's not Victoria though. That's Susie.
Susie
is Rita Wilson's character.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Victoria is the one with the crazy laugh.
Right. But either way, nobody seems to react to what he's doing.
Yeah. And it's also not believable that after she had gone through all this trouble to go to Seattle just to like talk to this guy that she would just say hi and then get on a plane and then fly right back.
I guess just because she's a real creep.
Yeah, she's already deep into psychosis on this. I mean, I don't know. I have questions. Why did she just fly to Seattle to say hi? And also, why was he struck by her in the airport?
I mean, she does look very beautiful. But
I guess, but he had been closed off to women for like years.
Yeah.
He's just now getting into the dating pool. He doesn't seem like he really cares that much about women.
Right.
And suddenly he's just like, oh, like, ooga. Like,
I think what the movie
doesn't make sense.
What the movie wants you to think is that one of the reasons why he hasn't cared about seeing women or found someone that he's been particularly interested in is because the two of them are like meant to be together. Mm-hmm. And she is, to be fair, she looks so different from any other women that he interacts with in the movie. Like they all like even Dana Ivey's character, who famously was in the Addams Family and hooked up with Cousin It. They all are like that.
Love her.
That brunette sort of like,
weird,
same
short,
physical
bad
type.
hair.
Yeah. And she is like, even visually, she is like strikingly beautiful and so much better looking than that Victoria woman.
Sure.
So
is she supposed to be like the dead wife reincarnated? Because she peels an apple for no reason. She doesn't want to eat an apple.
Oh, we have got to talk about the apple.
The apple. Okay.
The apple.
So the thing about the apple, I think what I've always interpreted it as is that this is something that the wife could do that he remembers. And one of the ways the movie is demonstrating to us that Annie is a good match for him is that she does one of the things which is not, it's a weird thing to like.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a weird dude, He's
kind of
he says he fell in love with his first wife and he knew that they were meant to be together just when they touched hands. So I think he's the kind of person that would like pick out like a weird idiosyncratic thing that she does and be like, oh, this is why I love her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she does this thing that other people
but
don't do.
It was still strange.
Because
who cares how anyone feels? Why do you need to peel an apple? You can eat an apple peel. It's not an orange.
But the peels get stuck in your teeth.
There was no reason for her to peel that apple in the context of the scene. She just starts doing it. She doesn't seem to want to like eat an apple, nor is she like cooking something. She just like.
I think it's just like a nervous habit.
I guess I nervously peel and ruin apples.
I have been with my husband for 15 years, and I have never once noticed how he's peeled an apple. So I guess we're not meant to be.
Well, maybe Jim just hates apples. In which case,
I don't know that I've even ever seen him eat apples, but either way, I don't think I'd care how he peeled it. Just my opinion. What's our next segment?
That's the apple section of today's conversation.
This has been Apple Talk with Jonathan, Jennifer, and Max.
Hashtag justice for the apple. All right. Let's move on to rankings, ratings, and trivia.
Okay.
We've already discussed like the fact that the movie cuts in scenes from another movie that like both inspires it and sort of like drives the plot a little bit.
Right.
Which is an interesting plot device, and it's a nice thing that connects both sets of people. Mm-hmm. Because the sister or sister-in-law, whoever Rita Wilson is the one that has the big scene where she talks about the plot of the movie and starts crying and all that. And we've already seen that Rosie O'Donnell and Meg Ryan have watched the movie like more than once. It's a nice thing it's a nice way to connect the two stories, I think. So that was a cool thing that they did. But how would you rate this movie? And will it be ranked with your favorite films? And if so, how high or how low? How low will you go, Jennifer?
I feel like this is a bit of a middle of the road sort of one for me. I had a lot of issues with it. I get why people like it. I get why people probably liked it, especially back in 1993. I don't know that it super holds up. I'm going to give it about 2.5 eyebrows, and I'm going to give those eyebrows to Meg Ryan's mom.
Okay. How about you, Max?
Yeah, I'd say same for me. It's, it's not for me. I'm not, it's not a kind of movie that I would seek out or want. I'd give it about 2.5 peeled exposed apples on top of your counter.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it gets 5 out of 5 houseboats, that's for sure.
See, you just stole what I was going to say. All right. Well, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5 Empire State Buildings because I got to love any movie that involves the Empire State Building. I love New York.
Oh, the shots were just
like,
beautiful.
it was gorgeous.
Absolutely.
There was even a fun little render at the end.
Yeah. The little animated ending is really cute.
It's cute. It dates itself.
I do have one question for you, Jonathan, and you're a little bit older than me, so maybe you would remember better than me. Did we keep a pull-down map of the United States in our house?
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen, because this
in between
seems like
the living room and the kitchen.
Second grade teacher classroom sort of thing, but he has one in his house / houseboat.
But there's a lot of map stuff in the movie too.
A lot of
There's
maps.
a lot of maps. Like her garment bag is a map. Did you notice that when she's going on the trip to Seattle?
I didn't notice that. It was fun to see that little
map-heavy movie.
It was fun to see that little airplane animation again. I haven't seen that in a while. The one that they used to have
with the dots going across the country. Yeah,
that was fun to see.
Very Indiana Jones-esque. I loved it.
And if you notice, it also like often would have like a pull-down map like effect when it would come down or go back up.
I did enjoy that.
So that was cute. Yeah, no, we never had a map in our kitchen.
But
I think they were just trying to squeeze in as many maps as they could.
Just, Nora Ephron. If we know anything about Nora Ephron, we know she loves a good map.
She likes maps and she likes books. There was a very low amount of books in this movie for a Nora Ephron film. Usually, but
there's a lot of letters.
But there's always a writer, and there's always a writer. One of the main characters in every Nora Ephron story is a writer of some kind.
Oh, of course.
Although he was an architect, which allows him to work at home in sweatpants a lot. There was a lot of sweatpants in this movie.
So many sweatpants. I noticed that too. I had that in my notes.
Thick socks and sweatpants.
Yeah,
Like this is a movie that you should watch in sweatpants because you will be. It's the only time you're going to be dressed the same as the characters in the movie.
Right. I feel like Seattle in the early 90s was very sweatpant heavy.
It was like 90% sweatpants.
It was pre-flannel, like not really quite that grunge Kurt Cobain look. very sweatpants. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of sweatpants.
Yeah, and I think and I remember from seeing this can fit into the trivia part. I remember seeing like making of featurettes of this, like either on the DVD or way back when they used to play that kind of stuff on HBO. And one of the things they were really shooting for with the design of the film, so like the set design, the costumes, and the hair, was they were trying to go for a timeless look, which I think for the most part they achieved.
I agree.
There's technology in the movie that is super dated, but you could envision someone wearing those outfits, except for some of the stuff that Rosie O'Donnell wears.
And Meg Ryan a little bit. Those shoes.
Oh, the
questions,
shoes, yeah.
Questions about those shoes.
But she always wears weird shoes.
Yeah.
And she always wants to wear flats, and she really looks better when she wears heels. But a lot of the, like the coats and the pants and shirts and dresses are something that you could totally see someone wearing today.
Right.
And so it's not like super in the early 90s.
Right.
Milieu, which is really great.
I have a question about those computers, though. Like, I feel like a lot of the movies that you watch from like the late 80s, early 90s, I feel like the people that produced these movies didn't actually know what computers were or what they did.
I don't know. Was it the internet? It might have been the World Wide Web.
I don't know what she was doing or if this is a real program.
Well, she pulled off some pretty impressive stalking, like, to a level that it's still sort of hard to do today.
Right.
Well, I'm not
Only
to be fair, she was using a very DOS system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that she was necessarily using the internet, or she was just looking up something that the newspaper had in their database.
Oh, that might make sense.
She worked for the Baltimore Sun, and everything that she was pulling up were stuff that was from newspapers. So I think it was more of a computerized newspaper clipping
sort
database.
of like a microfiche, but in the computer.
Microfiche. I do love a good microfiche scene.
We need to bring back microfiche.
Yeah, they should have had her doing microfiche in this movie.
Well, definitely. Cheers to microfiche.
Justice for microfiche. All right. So anything else you want to bring up, or any other notes you want to go over before we move on to the What Do You Mean You've Never Seen awards?
I thought Tom Hanks's relationship to his guy friend was very interesting.
The Rob Reiner character.
Yeah. Where he's just like, do I have a nice butt? Like, what do you do with women? Like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun to see.
They were quite woke, these guys.
Yeah, they were quite woke. They were just
it was a little bit of both, though, right? Because beginning of the conversation, I was like, who is this clown? But then, when he asked him to look at his butt, he wasn't like, I'm not looking at your butt. Like, you would think in the early 90s that would have gone the...
we're not gay.
The gay panic sort of air. But he didn't. He was like, it's okay. I think it's cute. He wasn't bothered by it. He wasn't like, I'm not looking at your butt. That's weird. That's big.
And his comments are really prophetic, don't you think? Because that's one of the things that doesn't date the movie at all. It really look at today. All famous people or handsome men have to have pecs and a six pack and a great butt.
I mean, everything's all about butts.
Yeah, it's all about the butts. Captain America's butt.
I like a good butt.
I mean, good for you. That's something you love to hear your sister say, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. I don't want to be, we're all inclusive here.
Just say folks and friends.
Folks and friends, not Fox and Friends. We don't watch that. Folks.
Thanks, folks.
You're the greatest.
# cute butts.
All right. Anything else other than the woke bros? They were like woke bros.
They were like woke bros. I like the trend of woke bros we're doing. First Godfather, now this. All very woke men, surprisingly.
Yes. Well, I mean, not all, but
not all.
The main stars of the movies are woke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually been kind of pleasant to have not too many super obviously, like what we talked about with Meg Ryan being a super stalker was a little problematic.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of nice to see the men in this movie kind of just be chill, and so far we haven't gotten too much into the gay man. Even although we didn't really like Princess Bride, the guys' interactions with each other in Princess Bride could have gone that way, but it didn't. So props to them for that.
True.
And I want to say that I really enjoy, although sometimes the actor is not my favorite, but I really enjoy the relationship between Tom Hanks and the son in this movie. I love that he finally gets so frustrated with him that he just tells him to shut up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I always want to tell that kid to shut up. I know that
Every time.
he's a part of the reason that the two of them get together at the end, and that's great. And a lot of times he's very sweet and very fun to watch. But sometimes he is just like, oh my God.
I mean, I related to that as a parent. I felt like it was very realistic. And obviously, this kid's been through some stuff with his mom dying. And even though I did call him a brat earlier, and I do stand by that, I mean, obviously, you can understand where the kid's coming from. He's confused. I mean, he's the one that sets the movie in motion, right? He's the one that calls the radio station. But you can tell, and I mean, even the conversation they're having by the sink where the kid's talking about movies he's watched where people have sex, which is a weird conversation, but Tom Hanks doesn't tell him to stop talking or oh, I don't want to hear this. He kind of goes with it, which again, a little bit of that hashtag woke bros, he's just kind of chill about it, but doesn't overly explain anything, but kind of just asks the kid well, what do you know about this? Which is, I think, the right way to go with kids when they approach you with stuff like that. Yeah. So I did appreciate his parenting. I feel like he was doing his best. And, sometimes you do need to tell them to shut up.
Yeah. I mean, and he's clinically depressed throughout most of the movie and still manages to take good care of the kid. And what I like is one of the things I hate in most movies that involve children is that the child is only one thing.
Yeah.
The child is either just a complete nightmare all the time, or they're a complete angel and they're precocious. And
too smart for any kid.
Too smart for their own good. And this child is all of those things.
Right.
He's cute, he's precocious, but he also can be a brat, but he can also just be a normal kid. And I like that. I like that approach because I get tired of the one-note kids in movies.
Right.
There's nothing less interesting to me than a kid that's just constantly a brat for no reason.
Yeah, the League of Their Own kid. And luckily he's not in it that much, so it's
still
not
well
overkill.
Angel.
But still well Angel, no justice for him.
No, he is definitely not the winner of that movie. No, the best part of that movie is when Tom Hanks again throws the catcher's mitt and smacks him and knocks him down. You were just
I wish we
praying
could
for
talk
that.
about that movie, but of course we've all seen it. So if you have not seen A League of Their Own, please come on our podcast so we can talk to you about it.
Yeah, and it is available for streaming on Amazon Prime for free. All right, let's move on to the What Do You Mean You've Never Seen awards.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask Max this question first. Is this movie better than the Muppet movie?
No, not for a second was this better than the Muppet movie. The music was much worse. The characters less realistic, I felt. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Wait.
That was my favorite comment ever.
So you're telling us, just to clarify for the folks at home, so what you're saying is the Muppets are more realistic?
Yeah, I relate to them more. I relate to their experiences more.
I mean, that is a strong stance, Max, and I support you in that decision.
I've never met a stranger on the top of the Empire State Building, but I've wanted to go on a road trip to Hollywood before. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
That is a hot take, folks. Those are the kind of hot takes you can expect from What Do You Mean You've Never Seen. You better make sure you keep coming back for more of those hot takes. All right, so Jennifer,
yes,
your turn to answer this question. Mm-hmm. Name something you like better than this movie and something that you like less.
Okay, so something I like better than this movie, a friend of mine and I, we went to see Beauty and the Beast, the production last night, and I think I liked that better. Gaston was great, Lumiere, shout out, Winter Garden Theater.
Shout out.
Hashtag shout out.
Winter Garden Theater in Winter Garden, Florida, their production of Beauty and the Beast. I enjoyed that mostly more than I enjoyed watching this. Something I liked less than this movie was the fact that I had to go to work today.
Oh no.
Yeah, bummer. either. So, but it was,
When you really just want to be recording a podcast.
I know. I was really tired from recording the podcast last night and wasn't into it. But it was overall a pretty chill day. No complaints, but other than the fact that I was tired. I liked that less than watching this. By the time we were watching this movie today, I was awake and alert and I was good to go.
Cool. All right. Now our favorite part. Who won the movie and who lost the movie?
I'm going to say that Bill Pullman won this movie for me, not because anything good happens to him at any point in time, but I just love seeing Bill Pullman, and I related to his allergy issues. I don't have any food allergies, but I related to the scene where he can't breathe at night because that is a constant struggle for me. And like I said, I feel like he got the raw end of the deal. He didn't do anything wrong. He did everything right. By all means, he probably would have been a great husband. He's super cute. I find him cuter than Tom Hanks, although I find them both equally charming, and no disrespect to Tom Hanks, but I would have picked Bill Pullman if I were Meg Ryan. And
that's how you know Sandra Bullock got it right.
Yeah, right. Sandra Bullock, better than Meg Ryan. And the loser of this movie is Gabby Hoffman. I didn't even bother. Jessica, was that her character's name?
Yes.
Jessica was the loser of this movie, because her eyebrows are out of control 100% all of the time.
It's like two cockroaches.
100%.
Yeah.
And any other movie she's in, it's just as bad. I like a full eyebrow, but it's too much. And she was really annoying, and her weird way of making not anagrams. What are they? Acronyms. I did not love. So she lost them. And the fact that she figured out a way to send this kid on a plane by himself is psychotic. What child knows how to do that?
Well, and one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they confront her when Tom Hanks comes over to find out where the kid is, and they realize that he's missing, and she knows something about it. And the father puts his hands on his hips and is like, "Jessica, this is your father." It's like, well, duh. Who the hell do you think she thinks that you are?
That father was so weird, right? And he was like
so weird.
And when she said like, "Oh, he's on flight 597 or whatever," the father immediately goes, "That leaves at 7:30 a.m." How does he know this?
He has the flights from Seattle to New York memorized.
What
she
time?
also doesn't say an airline, right?
No, I think she just says the flight number, and he automatically knows what time it is. Is he a pilot? What is his deal? Like, I want to know more about this father because...
Well, obviously, Jennifer, as he says, he is her father.
He has to point that out.
Jessica, this is your father.
As if he's talking to her on the phone.
Or the radio. It's like, Jessica,
right
this is your father speaking. like how you would talk to someone like if you were on a bullhorn and they brought you because your daughter was holding people hostage. Jessica, this is your father. Right. Please let the hostages go.
Right. You lose her at a baseball game and you're getting on the pager and you're like, "Jessica, this is your father. Beat me at the, level 4 bathrooms." No, he's right in front of her face and has to point out the fact that he's her father. Very weird. So Jessica loses this movie for me.
She doesn't even know who her father is.
Right.
What do you think, Max?
For me, I think that I would have to disagree. I think Walter lost the movie.
Well,
because,
he won my heart.
He bought the Dom Perignon, and he got the reservation in the Rainbow Room on Valentine's Day, and he just had that ring resized, and he went through all the stores.
That was disturbing.
He went through all the stores, and he looked at China, and, and
he was kind of a drip, I guess.
He wasn't even a little bit mad. I would have been a lot of bit mad. How are you not, I get that you're a very understanding person, but how are you not just a little bit mad?
Well, yes, he's extremely gracious, which I think is a super classy thing for them to have his character do.
Yeah,
I kind of like that he and Meg Ryan don't have a fight, or there's no
because who cares at that point anyway?
That he's not the villain of the story.
Yeah,
I like 'cause that's something that's different from most of these movies. Usually, if there is a person who's in a relationship that needs to break up with that person to get together with the main star of the movie, they make that person like just a dreadful person.
A jerk.
Or
they're
like,
cheating on them.
Like Alec Baldwin in Working Girl, like he cheats on Melanie Griffith. Like, why would you cheat on Melanie Griffith if you were a straight man?
Yeah,
There's just it makes no sense. So I mean, obviously you're not going to cheat on Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
No.
But I still feel bad for him. He gave her that, like, really nice ring, and she was like, wow, this was exactly what I wanted. I'm so glad my life is so boring and uninteresting that I got exactly what I wanted. Like, what's that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
he lost big time.
Well, the thing that I have always felt about this movie is that the two of them are really just too similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like dating yourself, and if you're dating yourself, everything you don't like about yourself is going to be that much more annoying. And I think that's kind of what her problem is just that she hooked up with a guy who was way too close to her personality and her sense of humor. And like, they think everything each other says is funny, but nobody else does. Cause I mean, he's not funny, but she thinks he's hilarious because he's got her sense of humor.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know that he's the winner or the loser in this movie for me. I think he's just a very classy guy, and in my heart, I know that he goes on to win the girl in While You Were Sleeping, which is an emotional sequel to this movie, if not a
100%. It's a sequel to this. Does that happen like the very next year or 2 years later?
I think 2 years later, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm so glad he ends up with Sandra Bullock. That movie's so good.
Yeah.
And anyways, I think the winner is Tom Hanks's son. Whose name I can't remember at the moment.
Jonah,
because he's like a whale that lives on a houseboat. Got it. Oh yeah, he totally won because he got everything that he wanted, and he has $80, and he's 8 years old in the 90s. So he's like,
figures out how to get on a plane. Figures out how to get to the Empire State Building.
That kid is balling.
Yeah, he gets to be with his girlfriend in his room with the door closed.
Yeah.
With no supervision.
He's doing like a Kevin McAllister before Kevin McAllister.
Although, I mean, I don't want to like get too much into the weeds with this, but what do you all think? Does maybe Jonah and Jessica grow up to be like a Will and Grace rather than Chandler and Monica?
Could be.
I think so.
The representation I do not want, please do not give it to me.
I feel like she just ends up bossing him around for his whole life and keeping him on a string. I think he is romantically interested in her, but it's a one-way thing, and she's just kind of trailing him along for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Well, I
think it's kind of
Will
sad.
and Grace didn't have a healthy relationship either. They were just like terrible.
Well, we'll get into that in our Will and Grace podcast.
Sure. That'll be podcast number 200 for us once we get there. Anyway.
We're going to eventually have so many podcasts. We're going to just everything we're interested in talking about. There's going to be like we're going to have our own podcasting network.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
You heard it here first. All right. So for me, I'm going to say that I think Rosie O'Donnell wins this movie.
Oh, she's the best.
Because she's the boss.
Okay,
she's Meg Ryan's boss. She recognizes that Walter is not right for her. And she's not like pushy about it or, like come straight out and tell her, because obviously that's never going to fly.
Right.
You tell her that he's wrong for her. It's just going to make her want to be with him more. She's just very, very, she's got like the puppet on the string with this. She plays it very close to the vest. She mails the letter, and they would never have gotten together if she hadn't mailed the letter because Meg threw it in the garbage.
Right.
She mails the letter. She encourages her. As her boss, she lets her go on this insane fact-finding mission.
Right. I feel like she bankrolled her. She must have, right?
Yeah.
For this thing.
Like she got paid. She got paid for that.
Yeah.
That was official company travel. And I think without Rosie, this plot completely falls apart.
Yeah.
I
what?
would say
Rosie is great in this.
Even more so than the son. I think she is. I mean, once you get past the whole getting him on the radio thing, I think her intervention is what really sets the finale in motion and drives it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I bet she has $80 into a girlfriend too.
All right.
Probably.
Right.
Well, she has Rick.
She basically is
she's fighting with a lot.
Who's a sicko.
Yeah.
And then she gets to be in...
And she got to hook up with the tree man.
And she gets to be in A League of Their Own a couple of years later with Tom Hanks again.
No, actually, I think it was the year before.
Was it?
I think it was 92 when League of Their Own came
I feel
out.
like it was the next year, but I could be wrong. But either way, also a great movie if you haven't seen it. Come be on our podcast, please.
Yes.
We want to talk about it.
We want to talk about League of Their Own. We want to talk about Big Business.
We want to talk about a lot of movies that we have seen as well as the movies that we haven't seen. But if you haven't seen them, we'd love to have you on.
Yes, we definitely have some thoughts. All right. That's going to bring us to our final moments of the episode, our final section. Any final thoughts or feelings that you feel like you haven't gotten a chance to express? Check your notes and see if there's any more notes you want to put out there. I'm just going to say for the record that I love the music in this movie. I know everybody does. Like, I love not necessarily the themes that were written for it, but I love that An Affair to Remember theme that they play in the end when she's running across the street and you're like, oh, I hope she doesn't get hit by a car. Because that's, spoiler alert, that's what happens to Deborah Carr or Deborah Kerr, depending on where you worship.
Is that how she ends up disabled and that's why Rita Wilson was crying?
That's why Rita Wilson was crying.
Fair enough. I've never seen Affair to Remember, so probably coming soon on this podcast.
What always happens, in movies of the olden times when someone gets paralyzed is that they have to wear a blanket.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Very FDR. Very FDR. That was my exact thought.
It's in
put a blanket on them.
It's in vogue.
Obviously, they're cold. They're cold. Maybe it'll warm them up and they'll be able to walk again. But I really love that theme. Like, I've listened to that track. Like, I have it on my Spotify, and I'll listen to it every once in a while. And I love the duet with, I think it's Clive Griffin and Celine Dion.
Yeah. Well, this soundtrack could definitely be like a wedding soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got some interesting covers, and that another piece of trivia that I forgot is that they specifically sought out unusual versions of like standard songs. Like
that's right up your alley. I can see
Jimmy Durante singing at the end. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I love movies that include like old standards. Like it's really fun. I would much prefer that to the synthesizer score from The Princess Bride.
Yeah. But
Casio keyboard.
Alternatively, the Muppets movie. Much better music.
And much more believable characters. Miss Piggy is much more believable than Annie Reed.
Yeah.
You heard it here, guys. Hot takes.
So I did just get this in from research that A League of Their Own was the year before, so that's my bad. League of Their Own came out in 1992. Thank you, Research Department. Another piece of trivia
that's in my head that will serve no purpose.
Thank you, Research Department, for that. So, Rosie O'Donnell was great. Everybody was great in this movie. I just, like I said, I have issues with it. I found Meg Ryan's character to be creepy. It was a little stalkery for my taste. I didn't realize that they didn't even meet till the end of the movie. I felt it was crappy to Bill Pullman. But overall, I mean, I especially get why at the time it was a big movie. So, props to Sleepless in Seattle. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad I finally watched it. And that's about all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Max. Those were some good final thoughts. And now it's time for us to tease our next episode. Are we excited?
Sure.
Drum roll, please. Our next film that we will be covering will be Gone with the Wind. Ooh. There's going to be wind. Ooh. It's going to be gone.
We're going to be gone.
We're going to be gone with it. Is it just there will be plantations. There will be cities on fire.
Is this movie like Gone Girl?
It's the original version of Gone Girl.
Oh, wow.
Gone Girl Part 1.
Gone Wind Gone.
Prequel.
That's very special because, I've never seen it. So it must be just like Gone Girl.
So neither of the two of you have seen this movie, correct?
I have never seen this movie.
I mean, this is a very long movie, so I definitely have not seen it all the way through. I know it was a very important movie to our very dearly departed grandma, who we love very, very much. And I'm excited to watch it. I know it's going to be a long one that we're going to have to commit to. Spoiler alert, we may have a guest for the next episode. Fingers crossed if we can work it out. If not, then ignore what I just said. But I'm excited to watch it, but no, I haven't seen it all the way through. What I know about it is obviously it takes place in the South, Georgia, Civil War, plantation being burned down to the ground. something about I don't give a damn, something about I will never go hungry again, and
I think that's the Lion King.
something about being raped, and that's about what I know. Max?
Yeah, that about covers what I knew and so much more.
Interesting fact, this movie takes place in Max's home state of Georgia.
Ooh. Do you know like what town or like?
Well,
Is it
part of it
Roswell?
takes place in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Probably
think,
Roswell.
I think
Is it like a milling town sort of a deal?
there's lumber involved.
Okay, I think that was probably like
There's
where
lumber, and the Ku
where
Klux
I'm
Klan
from.
gets involved in the lumber somehow.
I hate it when that happens.
Yes. So we are aware that this film can be a little bit problematic. You know, we want to
Keep it light.
keep it light.
Keep it
Yeah.
And
light.
we
Yeah,
also
too.
want to we want to say up top that we definitely understand those who may not enjoy this film. We support you. We support the marginalized people that are a part of the more problematic parts of this film. The first African-American woman to win an Oscar did win an Oscar for this movie.
Right.
So
To which she was not invited to sit with her castmates at the Academy Awards.
Oh yes, we will talk about that
There's
for
lots
sure.
to talk about with this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of trivia. There's a lot of interesting facts that we could bring up, and it's going to be a wild ride. So
I'm looking forward to this one. There's a lot to talk about. I'm sure that it's a good movie. I'm sure it's well acted. I'm sure it's well directed. I mean, the parts I've seen of it obviously look beautiful, but I'm sure we're going to have some issues with it.
yeah, so we're excited to get our teeth into this one, and while we may not be excited to sit down and watch it for however many, I think it's like 3.5 hours.
Oh, it's so long.
like almost 4 hours. Maybe.
Yeah, it seems very long. Yeah.
Like it may be one of those movies that listeners, if you're going to watch these movies each week with us before you listen to the podcast, you might want to split that up into 2 separate viewings.
I'm definitely going to split this up into 2 separate views. Where can we watch it, Jonathan? Do you know where we can find this movie?
Let's look, because I heard something about it not being available everywhere anymore, but I feel like it's on HBO Max.
While he's looking that up, I will say that I know that a good place to find movies is at libraries, and a lot of people don't think of that as a place to find movies, but I'm sure that this movie is easily available at libraries if you guys have a DVD player, which I don't. So, but I'm sure you can find the DVDs at libraries. It is on HBO Max. I just got from our fabulous research department.
Okay.
Hashtag
Yeah, that's where I remember
Corey
it being
Hansen.
on.
Thank you.
It's also available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $3.99 if you don't have HBO Max and would like to watch it elsewhere. So that's $3.99 for that long of a movie is a pretty good deal. It's the same price we had to pay to watch Sleepless in Seattle.
It's
so-
$1 for every hour of the movie.
Yes. Where else can you get cheap entertainment like that? So yeah, we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to hearing from more from you guys. We are now live as of the recording of this episode. We are live with our preview episode anywhere you get your podcasts. That's iTunes, Google Play, Spotify.
Apple Podcasts, which
We
is where
have
I listen to my podcast. Apple Podcasts.
We have a YouTube channel where you can play a video with our wonderful temporary logo that Max designed for us. And props
Very
to Max
temporary.
for his editing and publishing skills. I don't know that I would be able to get this done without him. And we encourage you to keep on keeping on, and hopefully we'll be.
Thank you, my love, for your encouragement. That is staying in, and I am amplifying it.
Thank you. Yeah, give me some like cool echo effects or something.
Oh no, I'm trying to take out as much echo as I can.
All right, so yeah, check
I'm
out.
so excited that we're live. I've already had people texting me, hitting me up on Facebook that they're very excited about this podcast. So I'm
we do
really
have a
excited
Facebook
to
page,
interact
too.
with you. We have a Facebook page, probably an Instagram.
We have an Instagram.
So check
is
our
up,
links in
and
our
Twitter.
bio. I mean, if you're not already friends with me on Facebook, I'm probably not going to add you, but I will add you on the podcast page. So
Okay. All right. So look for that stuff coming up. We're going to have lots more cool things for you to listen to. And pretty soon we're going to start doing some stuff on Patreon and have some special bonus podcasts.
Ooh, content.
Digital content.
So much content coming your way.
Thank you all for listening. Thanks for coming on this journey with us. We hope you enjoyed our discussion of Sleepless in Seattle. We hope you enjoyed the movie. And if not, we hope you watch the Muppet movie. I'm Jonathan. It's great to talk to y'all, and we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Jennifer
you,
signing
everybody.
off.
And I'm Max, signing off.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week. See you soon.
What Do You Mean You've Never Seen is written by Jonathan Colon. Theme song and editing by Maxwell Abelman. Cover art by James Alexander. Your hosts are Jonathan Colon, Jennifer Branch, and Max Abelman. Please visit whatdoyoumeanyou'veneverseen.buzzsprout.com for more great episodes and links to our social media and Patreon pages. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.